Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay, and welcome back, of course, to my crazy, weird, super boring, analytical, education-filled, very meticulously done Shadowlands testing. We've been here before in the past few expansions, if you recall, if you may have been here. So I thought I would put out a little short, sweet video to sort of go over what my plans are for Shadowlands. I'm sitting right here in Bastion next to my Wind Fury totem, which is one of the things currently brought back in the state of things right now with the Great Unpruning, which I made a giant, it was a live stream highlight. It's here on the YouTube channel. It's like 3 hours long, but there are bookmarks inside the video description box if you would like to sit through parts of it or all of it or as a podcast. It was the initial class sort of feedback post, that blog post, water cooler, whatever you want to call it, the update that Blizzard put out about all of the sort of core classes. Oh, hold on. Wind Fury Totem just... No. Okay, it's back. Where a lot of the core stuff was sort of gone over and talked about. Now, we're sitting in sort of a new setup here. Sort of a new setup. They've got a new microphone going on. Potentially new face. Same giant 5-head. But over the course of the next 5, 6, 7, 8 months or so, hopefully the latter 7, 8 months, we'll get a ton of testing done. And if you haven't seen what we've done before, just real quick, just to refresh or to show what may or may not be what you're familiar with from the past, there are this giant document that was created that archived everything. This is the current Legion artifact and class halls. We did all of the Legion beta class and spec testing. And you may wonder, what's all this giant space over here? Well, again, we also did that again in Battle for Azeroth. We did all this. But for Shadowlands, we've expanded. And there's going to be a bit more focus on getting more information out for me. So there's going to be some Torghast runs, as you can see there. I'm going to do some Covenant walkthroughs, which I did with the class halls and the artifacts back in Legion, for example. But we've also got dungeon runs. It's going to be a new thing this time around, where I plan to run a dungeon on every single spec, but only one of those will be recorded off stream, sort of as the end bit. So here, how's this all going to work, right? We also I had the smaller version, but I was like, that's not going to be enough, so we upgraded. We had to upgrade there. But so what's going to happen is Monday, tomorrow, as the crow flies, April 12th, we'll start with Druid, then we'll go into Shaman, and then I'll sort of figure out where we go from there. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. There we go. And it'll be one spec a day, most likely, which took me a long time to get through this. I'll try to squish 2 specs in at a time. Maybe like Frost and a Holy Death Knight can get smushed into the same day. But we'll do the one spec, 2, 3, 4 hours, and then I'll run a dungeon on that spec. And if it's, say, when we start with Druid, for example, on Monday, we'll be doing Balance, and then Feral, and then Guardian, and then we'll end with Restoration Druid. Restoration Druid will not be streamed. It'll be recorded off the stream, and that'll be the YouTube video cut, sort of ending that class's segment. Of course, if you want to watch the dungeon runs as the other specs, those will be available as Twitch highlights, because I'll just live stream them. So if you're in chat and you want to help me out and run these dungeon runs, if you're part of my Discord community, either subs or non-subs, or I might get some other content creators built in here. I got Nobble, Mr. GM, Preach, etc. See if they're not too busy. If they want to jump into a dungeon run, those will be the videos. They'll all be Twitch highlighted, so they'll be saved forever. The point of doing the recorded video is that, and not doing it on stream, is that I want to use that footage as kind of a, some of it will be B-roll background, where I will talk over it to sort of give the overall summary of the class, right? So it'll be like a spec summary of all of Druid. Or when we do Shaman, I'll end with Enhancement, because duh. And then that video would be me running the dungeon as Enhancement, and then sort of talking over it, and of course hitting Crash Lightning with no targets, which is still a bug, or a feature, who knows. And then sort of talking over the thoughts for all of Shaman. And that'll go in line with everything else. So you'd get spec video for, if you're just like YouTube, for example, you'll have spec video, spec video, spec video, dungeon video, next class. Depending on when Torghast gets into the mix here, and we can start doing some Torghast runs, then those will probably just be super random. Like on stream that day, we'll figure out, oh, let's run this is Torghast. Or if I want to record, say, a solo enhancement run of Torghast, then I'll do that. So there'll be a mixture of live stream highlights, which will be streamed right here on Twitch. At the links down below in the description if you're unfamiliar with where I stream on Twitch. Or I'll record them separately, and then I'll sort of like narrate and talk through stuff. So I'm not actually sure. Torghast will be sort of an organic piece as we go through everything. So I'm not going to super plan that one out. We'll have the Covenant walkthroughs, where I'll do sort of the similar thing that I did with the class halls in Legion. It'll be like a 10-minute video where I'll walk around, we'll explore, sort of get the lay of the land here. Obviously, we only have so much terrain right now in the current state of the alpha because we are only in Bastion. But as those things improve upon, then they will. And we'll cover them. I will say right now, off the bat here, we are not going to be doing a bunch of Soulbind or Covenant, the abilities testing. So, like, for example, the Covenant Soulbind system we have here, we have an early preview of it. It's very early. It's very placeholder. It's very not in the game really at all yet. So these will be a separate bit, probably closer to beta. Same thing with the ridiculous amount of Covenant signature abilities. This is going to be a beta thing because so much of this is not done, still work in progress. Like, I want to go Night Fae on my Shaman. I don't have an ability yet. So there's no point in me bringing these up and putting these into play during the alpha early pass, early first impressions, because we're not going to have information. It's not going to be concrete enough. It's not going to be, there enough and contextual for us to actually put it into any real understanding. You can read about them, or like I just pulled up Wowhead's posts, and you can go like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I'm not going to focus on those until they're a little more like actually baselined and maybe more fleshed out from Blizzard's side of things. But that's the plan. There's going to be an absolute ton, both on Twitch or on YouTube, depending on what you want to look at. And of course, it'll all be archived in ye old channel guide for the first pass, the beta testing, Covenant runs, Torghast random runs that'll fill in here as I do them, the Covenant walkthroughs, and of course the dungeon runs, either Twitch or YouTube links will be put here. It'll say probably T in parentheses or YT in parentheses in the link, so you'll know where it was coagulated or where it was put up, because there'll be a little different flavor, like I said earlier, right? And that's more or less the basis of this. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions for this, of course, please feel free to leave them down in the comments here. You can take the link down below, follow the Twitch channel so you can be there when it's live. And again, it's going to be pretty boring. It's database diving, it's tooltip comparing, and it's theorizing and sort of math crafting and all this kind of stuff, depending on who's there in chat to help me out with figuring things out. So we're just trying to figure out how, it works one expansion to the next. And then beta will get a little more, making builds and figuring out like how all the pieces fit together and incorporating the soul binds and the signature abilities and sort of comparing and contrasting. And it depends on if they give us max level characters. Can I make a character and then like switch a Covenant to go test other abilities? It really all depends on what Blizzard gives us. That's the biggest thing we don't know. And right now we only have so much to work with. These template characters are real bad. They're super low eye level. And even if you do some questing to start leveling up, we are like normal, barely heroic dungeon BFA geared as at current if you wanted to go 1-to-1. My actual real character from the live game is like 140 or so eye level, nearly double, if not more than double, depending on how the cloak and the neck round and the squish happens. So these characters are super weak, so the dungeons are going to be really scuffy. I've seen really easy dungeon run clears on other streams, and then really bad dungeon runs where they can't even get past the first or second bosses because these characters are really squish. So it all depends on really what they give us, or what we're allowed to test, and how the testing unfolds, but we're in for a ride over the next, hopefully 7-8 months or so. But thank you all for listening to me ramble on here, of course. If you are going to be along for the ride, let me know. If you are here for the ride again, also let me know. And I think the biggest way, if you have any feedback or you want to help me submit things for that, is either be here during the live stream or jump into my Discord, because I'm going to be always in that. It follows me everywhere I go. But that's that. My name is Bay. Thank you very much for listening and being here for all this madness, and hopefully you're here again as we jump back into another World of Warcraft beta testing cycle of just I'm ready.